DAYSSSS on the beat.
Oh, this one of a kind. What if I order it?
Hey guys, it's Atira Ayana, and I'm back with another video, okay? This video is going to be nice and sweet, short and simple. We're going to be talking about how to raise your credit score 50 to 100 or more points in the next 30 days. Yes, the next 30 days. It's not a scam. It's not nothing crazy. It's actually something that's well known to a lot of people, but then to some people it's still not common and known, but that's okay because I'm going to make you all familiar with it tonight, okay? So what I'm talking about is trade lines. Trade lines. That's TRADELINES, okay? If you've never heard of a trade line, that's okay. A lot of people know them as authorized user. You probably heard it as authorized user, which means that you're gonna get added on somebody else's credit card. So let me break it down into a simpler form, okay? Let's say I have a credit card. My name's Ayana, all right? I can actually do trade lines. I have some current trade lines for some of my family that's currently on my trade line account. But how it works is, okay, I have a nice credit score. I have about a 760 credit score. Pretty good credit score. I could add somebody onto one of my credit cards, right? So let's say I added my little brother onto my credit card. In that moment, he automatically gets all of my good history. So all my good payments that I've been making for the past couple of years, my credit limit, which is $26,000, he now will have a credit limit displayed on his credit report as $26,000, okay? Now, he has no access to anything on my credit, so he can't mess up my credit. He can't use my actual credit limit. The only thing that it can do for him is to help him portray a better credit report. But he has no access to anything that I do on my credit report or on my credit personally. Everything is about him and what he does on his report. He has nothing to me. So all I'm doing is lending out a helping hand and helping him out, okay? So you can do that with anything, any person in your family, anybody who has a good credit report and wants to add you on, they can add you on, and immediately, well, not immediately, but within 30 days, once it hits your credit report, your whole credit score will change, okay? Now, in some cases, we don't have people that we could just go on their credit report or like go on their credit card, like they'll add us up there like, hey, auntie, let me add you on your credit report. Like, even if they do have a good credit score, period, they're probably like, girl, I worked too hard to get this credit report. I'm not adding you on. Go find somebody else, okay? That's perfectly okay. That's where trade lines come in, okay? So trade lines is just another form of authorized user. The only difference is you don't know this person whose trade line you're being added onto, okay? So people like me, I can actually go and rent out my credit card. So let's say I have a credit card with Bank of America I've had for 10 years with a $30,000 credit limit on, okay? I can help somebody by charging them to add them onto my credit card, and they can now be an authorized user on my credit card, and they will get all that history. So all those 9-10 years of great payment history that I've been making, that $30,000 in credit utilization, they now get, okay? So that's pretty much how trade lines work. They're very, very beneficial when you're trying to buy a house, buy a car, just leverage some credit, leverage some establishment of credit history on your credit report, because there's 6 data points that credit card companies and loan companies and people and lenders, six data points that lenders look at when it comes to determining whether you're a good candidate for them to give you credit or not, or lend you out money. There's 6 data points, and a part of those data points is your credit history and your credit utilization, okay? Those are going to be the 2 big data points that they're going to be looking at, your credit history and your credit utilization. Trade lines really can help with that, because let's say everything else on your credit report is good, but you've only been building your credit for maybe 2 or 3 years, and you're like, and I'm gonna tell you guys right now, you need an average of 4 years minimum to be considered you have good established credit, okay? So a lot of people, they're just starting to get up on the credit wave and they're just starting to build their credit. So 4 years seems so far away. Add a trade line, okay? If that trade line is 5 years or more, you're in the money, okay? You're in the money. 4 years or more, you're in the money, okay? Let's say if you have credit cards and your current credit cards are maxed out, so your credit utilization is looking like 100% usage, right? So let's say you have a $1,000 credit card and you're using the full $1,000. What a trade line will do, let's say if you add a trade line, that trade line has a $10,000 credit limit, okay? Once that's added onto your credit report, it's going to look as if you have $11,000 in credit, okay? But only 1,000 of those dollars are being used from that 11,000. So now your credit utilization just went from a full 100% of being used down to probably like 10, not even 10%, less than 10% of being used. So trade lines can help hide your credit utilization. And I've honestly had clients go from literally like a 500 to like a 700. Okay, you can add as many trade lines as you want. I only recommend 2, no more than 2. But if you guys want more information on how to get trade lines, I have a ton of trade lines that you guys can actually search through and pick what you want. They usually tend to start between $300 and up. Okay, so you can get a trade line for $1,500 or so. The cheaper they are, not so much they're not better, but usually the cheaper they are is because the credit history is pretty very short. So if you're somebody who also has a long credit history but everything else is not matching up, you can get a very short trade line, which is a trade line for only 2 years, but that has great positive payment history and it has a nice utilization. You can actually benefit from that. Trade lines, the thing is with trade lines, you have to know when you can get them and where to put them, okay? A lot of people just get them. They don't know what kind of trade line they need, what kind of trade line will actually benefit them, and that's where I come in. So you guys can send me a message, DM, book a consultation with me, and I can go over your credit report with you and decide which trade line would best fit your needs and best fit what you need, okay, on your credit report. Trade lines are not an easy way out though, guys. I want to get that misconception out of your head, because trade lines are not an easy way out. Of course, you'd be like, okay, then why everybody don't just add trade lines on their credit report and everybody will be able to get everything they want in life? That's not how it works. First of all, trade lines only last about 2 to 3 months, depending on whoever you purchase them from, whatever. My personal trade lines only last 3 months. So when my client purchases a trade line from me, I always tell my client, okay, immediately. Well, before we get it, we've already established what's going to happen once that score is reflected, once that 7 something is being reflected. Okay, what are you going to do? You need to get a card, you need to get a house, you need to get a credit card. What are you using this trade line for? The trade line is there for you to establish a history so that you can go and now go get this stuff, okay? You don't want to see the 750 credit score and be like, oh, I'm in the money, everything's perfect and great. No. You paid for this trade line, you want to get your money's worth, because the trade line will drop off in about 3 months. So within the time of you having that trade line, you go purchase that house you want. You go purchase that car you want. You go purchase that credit card you want. You go purchase all the things that you wouldn't have been able to purchase without the trade line, okay? So that once the trade line drops, you're good. You've already established that house you wanted. You've already established those credit cards you needed. You've already established that car loan that you wanted. You've already established the things that you need. So once it drops, now you can focus on building, okay? So I always tell clients, I do recommend you still get your repairing done, credit repair done, as well as adding the trade line on, because what trade lines can't do is trade lines cannot remove all that negative history that you have on your credit report, okay? And it's best to have your credit report in a nice format, nice and clean, before you add the trade line on. Because let's say I tell you the trade line is going to add on and it's going to bring 150 points to your credit score, right? If you have a 500 and you add a trade line and it brings your score up 150 points, that's only going to bring you to a 650. That's not where we want to be. So you want to at least make sure that you're already in the 600s before you add the trade line on. So however much it increases, you'll actually feel that increase. You know what I'm saying? If it goes up 100 points, you're actually going to feel that 100 points. I know this video was really quick. I didn't want to make it too long and dragged out. If you guys want more information, if you want to see my price list for the current trade lines that I have new trade lines that come in every single week. People send me trade lines. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about trade lines, you want to add one, you just want to know more about it, you want to see some results from some of my clients that have done so, please let me know and I'm more than willing to help, okay guys? So with that being said, have a great night, guys. Bye.
Worry about me and who I fire. I get what I desire, it's my empire. And yes, I call the shots, I am the umpire. I sprinkle holy water upon the vampire.